bum 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 ba da da dum bum 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 ba da dum bum 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 ba dum bum 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 ba da da dum bum bum ba dum ba ba dum. Oh, look at how everyone is coming in. Hello, my friends. It's so great to see you all, my mighties and folks on Facebook and YouTube. And my goodness, you are coming from everywhere. Virginia Beach and Kansas and Ohio and New Jersey and Connecticut and Colorado and Texas. Oklahoma. Hi, Bob Dunbar. Nice to see you. And so nice to see you in Chicago. Sandy, and hi, everyone. Minnesota. So Delray Beach. Hi, Donna. So great to see everyone. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. It's Monday night. And we do something kind of special on Monday night, every Monday night. My name is Joette Calabrese, for those of you who don't know me. And this is what we do every Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We do one thing and one thing only, and that is we talk about homeopathy. I teach you what I know after 40 years of studying, 36 years of practice, and what I know from all of my teaching. And so that's what we are going to work on tonight is homeopathy. We're going to do it in a specific fashion tonight. And for those of you who do know me, welcome, my friends. It's always great to see new people and old people and everyone put together. And I have to tell you something funny. I've been noting lately that when I talk to people outside of this venue who are not in my academy, not in my Facebook live groups, not in my blog responses, not in my Gateway to Homeopathy study groups, not in my mastery group, not in my all of the groups that I teach, and I teach many folks live. When I'm not with you folks, I realize how special it is for us to be together like this. For us to have a community like this in which we can, we're sort of on the same page. For those of who are new, you will catch up. You'll learn quickly. And why do I say that you will learn quickly? Because, my friends, this is the contagion. Learning how to use homeopathy because it's deliciously intellectual and because it is so successful in so many situations that you will learn quickly because you won't be able to stop yourself from learning. So tonight, we are going to talk about panic attacks and anxiety. And I'm going to start out with something that I see on a regular basis. And you don't see this, my friends, unless you watch for this. Okay, you need to watch for it. You need to put a timeline together if you really want to know. Let's say there's this fellow and his name is Michael, okay? And he's pretty anxious. He's feeling pretty uncomfortable. So he goes to his physician and he says, "Doc, I'm really anxious." And the doc says, "No problem. Here, take this Valium. It's not a problem at all. And you should start feeling better in no time." Ka-ching. And within a few weeks, Michael feels very relaxed, but now he's feeling a little, shall we say, not on the ball, maybe a little confused. And so, by the way, that is a side effect of Valium. And so he says, "Oh, I'll get past it." He calls the doctor. No, just stick with it. It'll just go away, but it doesn't go away. So the doc says, "You know what? Instead, why don't you go see this shrink? I will refer you." Ka-ching. No problem. So now he goes to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says, I don't know, this confusion, I think we can do something about that. Just take this Prozac. Ka-ching. Thanks, Doc. Then a couple months later, Mike returns. I've got to keep notes on this. He returns to his original doctor and says, Doc, I don't understand it. I'm getting these headaches. I used to have them years ago, really mildly, but now they're pretty much, practically every day. And his primary doctor says, here, I'll give you a referral, ka-ching, to a neurologist. And he'll tell you what to do, and he can go through a battery of tests. So he goes to the neurologist, and the neurologist says, Here, Nate, take naproxen. That takes care of headaches. Don't worry, every time you have a headache, just take naproxen. Okay, all right, so now, all right, I'll take the naproxen. Now this is we're over a period of maybe 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year. And in short order, Michael has tinnitus, ringing in the ears. And he's starting to have this kind of chest pain. So he goes back to the neurologist and says, I don't know, what should I do? And he goes, here, go back to your primary care. And the primary care says, you know what, we need to go for a cardiological workup. I'll send you to this cardiologist. I will refer you. Ka-ching. So then he goes for a battery of cardiological tests. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Now, Michael's got tinnitus, and he's got chest pains. He's got headaches. And the cardiologist says, no problem. But Michael is freaking out. He's really panicked because the Valium was making him so sleepy that he kind of had to stop. He didn't take it as often. It was making him so lethargic. But he also has to go to the otologist because he's got this tinnitus. And he says to him, the otologist or otologist, I don't know how it's pronounced these days. They change those names on a regular basis or pronunciations on a regular basis. We don't know these things, why people have tinnitus. I don't see anything wrong with your ears. So why don't we give you Valium? Because Valium is used for tinnitus. He says, well, I've sort of been taking Valium, and I'm just not comfortable with it because, it made me really uncomfortable. I mean, I do take it, and maybe it helps a little bit with the anxiety, but then I feel really sleepy. He says, okay. So the next best drug instead of Valium is Elavil. Okay, all right, I'll take Elavil. Do I have to take it every day? Well, look, are you having tinnitus every day? Well, not exactly, but when I'm really anxious, I have it. Okay, that's when to take it, when you're anxious. Okay, so when he goes back to the cardiologist for secondary tests, ka-ching, 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 they find he has a mitral valve prolapse. And by the way, I might add, mitral valve prolapses are quite common. And they often, by the way, do not have any repercussions. They're within the range of normal. Not all of them, but many times they are. And they can be considered kind of normal. But just in case, says the cardiologist, I want you to take this aspirin every day, okay? Just a little baby aspirin, just a little aspirin. It's not a big aspirin, because, we're holistic here. Just a little teeny, tiny baby aspirin. And so, all righty, and I want you to take this statin drug. Statin drug too, really? He says, well, look, just in case. You just never know. It's really good. We practice preventive medicine here. We catch it before you get really sick, just in case. Because, you never know. Shortly after starting the aspirin, Michael starts having stomach pains, and he's seeing once in a while, a little blood in his stool, and it's a little unnerving, and now his panic attacks are whopping. He's totally freaking out. He's got blood in his stool, he's got pain in his gut, he's got headaches, he's got tinnitus. Oh my God. I don't mean to laugh. But he's developing intestinal ulcers from what? The aspirin. And shall we also add that with the statin drugs, within about 8 months, his performance in the bedroom is not exactly up to par, shall we say. So, with the pain and the ulcers, he needs, says the gastrointestinal doctor, you need omeprazole. And because we need what? What do we need, he says? We need to be responsible. You need to be responsible. And the only way you can be responsible is to go for test after test after test and do as you are told. You must be compliant, because if you're not compliant, we actually write it on your chart. Non-compliancy, non-compliant patient. So Mike now has Valium, Prozac, naproxen, Elavil, daily aspirin, Flovastin, omeprazole. Now he's got Viagra. And once he starts taking Viagra, what else happens? He gets high blood pressure. And now he's taking Prinavil and Lipresor. Because with high blood pressure, you don't just take one medication. You take 2, sometimes 3. He's now taking 9 drugs, and he's panicking. We still have not addressed the original complaint of anxiety, have we? No, we haven't. Instead, now we've created iatrogenic disease. If you don't know what iatrogenic means, I urge you to look it up. It's an underused term. It's a disease that's caused by drugs, modern medicine, overprescribing, too many tests, too many visits to a certain kind of an office. And then this person who came in with stress and anxiety now has his original disease, his original suffering, I should say, would not call anxiety a disease necessarily. He has his original suffering and now many, many more. So, my friends, that's what happened to me. Not exactly like that, but many years ago, I took a lot of medications. I lived in a world where a lot of medications were being used. And one day, I said, I am so sick. My conditions were different, but I am so sick. I'm so sick with the drugs that I think maybe I'm just going to stop all of them. And I will deal with my sufferings in my own way. And I will just eat differently. I'll go to bed earlier. I'll walk outside. I'll get sunshine. I'll eat better foods. I'll stop watching the news. Now, we're talking back in the 70s and early 80s, this happened to me. And I've never looked back. So, had Michael gone to a homeopath, or better yet, had he joined one of our study groups, had he joined one of our Monday Night Lives, he would have learned what the top medicines were for anxiety. What used to be anxiety is now, at the end of this scenario, which I just described to you, takes about a year, maybe a little bit less for all of that to occur. But this is not uncommon, lest you think what I just described to you is an unusual set of circumstances. Oh, nay, nay, my friends, let me tell you, it is what I see on a day-to-day basis. It is ridiculously common. And each time the person goes to another practitioner, they feel deeper and deeper angst and worry that now they're really getting sick. Because you know what? They are. But it's not from the original personage. It's that the person has been taking one drug after another, and what we're witnessing is iatrogenic disease, in which the drugs and the settings and what they're being told, what Michael is told, what happens between the ears, how the person thinks about all of this, causes him to freak out. It is heartbreaking. But it is up to us, my friends. Where does the responsibility lie? Does the responsibility lie in our hands? Are we being responsible going for all of these tests? Are we being responsible doing as we're told? Or are we being responsible for taking our responsibility fully and understanding that this can be dealt with in a different way? Now, let me say that when someone has anxiety, the first thing I say is to look at your lifestyle. Your job, Michael's job. What is Michael eating? Is he drinking diet soda? Is he having too many martinis? Is he watching the news every night before he falls asleep? How is his marriage? Is he working at his marriage? Is he making it something that is satisfying, or is it something that he doesn't put any effort into? Does he have hobbies? Does he go outside? Does he have friends? That's what we need to look at. Does he have unresolved issues? That's where we go first. And it does not take a shrink who's automatically going to prescribe Valium to tell him what he needs to do. We are adults here. The adults in the room need to know how to figure out what's going on. And when all has been addressed and the diet has changed, and we've cut out the junk, all of the junk in our lives, then we can consider looking to homeopathy. Now, why homeopathy? Why homeopathy? Well, for one thing, let's just start with how inexpensive it is. I'm looking for a bottle. Let's look at how inexpensive this little bottle is. Under $20, $15. Let's just start with that, okay? Remember all the ka-chings from the referrals and the drugs and the kickbacks and the tests? This ka-ching is more like a ka-ching, $15. And so what we do is we purchase it ourselves and we use it ourselves. And in the world where they want us to take many synthetic drugs of commerce, they call that self-medicating, as though that is a foolish act. Well, I agree with the medicating part, but self-restoration, self-responsibility, self-care, now we're talking. So, my friends, the first medicine that he could take, why we use homeopathy, is a medicine called, and I know many of you already know about it, for anxiety, is aconitum. Aconite is what it's said is how it's said for short. Aconitum napellus 200C. Now, does Michael need to take this aconitum for the rest of his life, like he does with the statin and the aspirin and the Lopressor, et cetera, et cetera? No. He takes it a few times, and often it's done with. Now, what if it comes back in a month, 3 weeks, a year? Do we say, oh, no, it's back again. The medicine didn't act, the homeopathic. No, it means, no, it's time to repeat it. That's what it means. It's time to repeat the medicine. It just needs to be reinstituted for a couple of days again. We don't take these medicines for the rest of our lives for something like this. Let's say that Michael is one of those people who has anxiety, and he's so nervous that at night he's pacing. What am I to do about my bills, or what am I going to do about my marriage? And I don't know what to do about that business deal. I don't know how to handle that employee that is stealing from my company. What am I to do? Worry. Now we can start thinking about aurum metallicum, AURUM, aurum. Homeopathic gold, or a metallicum 200C, and that can be taken every other day until Michael starts to settle in. But what if instead Michael is pacing every night and it's not worry about business, it's not finances, It's not feeling as though he's being taken advantage of. It's just that his brain is busy, 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 busy. Can't stop thinking about work. He falls asleep with just barely able to fall asleep, and then boink, wakes up again an hour later with anxiety again and worry, and he's not really even sure what he's worried about. It's just free-floating anxiety, just doesn't know what to do, and then he might fall back to sleep for a little while, and then an hour later he wakes up again. And doesn't that sound like someone who's had too much coffee to drink? And so in that case, my friends, Michael should take coffea, homeopathic coffee, coffea 200C, because what causes disease in the gross form, as in too many cups of coffee, potentized 200 times to the 100th power, 200C, coffea 200 will help calm down his nerves and allow him to sleep through the night. But I want to read this one. What if Michael has melancholy with his anxiety, apprehensive of a serious disease? Now, when he first started, he wasn't afraid of a serious disease. All he had was some anxiety. But further on, after being told by the cardiologist and the neurologist and the psychiatrist and the gastroenterologist, what do you think he's got now? Now he's got worries about serious disease. Blood in the stool? Are you kidding me? Tinnitus? I must be aging. Oh my gosh, ED. I didn't think I was that old. Apprehensive of serious disease. Time passes slowly. His memory is weak now. Remember what Valium did? It made him confused. Errors of perception. He becomes impulsive. He just doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to think. Peculiar mental impulses. He has this desire. I don't know. What good is life? I don't think I can handle this. I'm just going to jump off a bridge. He doesn't really plan on doing it, but he's just, oh my God, woe is me. This is just too much. I have so many diseases. I have so many doctors, and now I don't even have time for my business because all I do is spend all my time in waiting rooms. Brain fog. Anyone have any ideas where I'm going with this? What medicine this would be? I would not call this the first medicine. I would call this the medicine after all of the iatrogenic diseases have been placed in his life. Anyone have any ideas? Let's see. Ignatia, people are saying Orm. Yes, Orm along with the coffea. Yes, coffea cruda. Yes, you're absolutely right. Anyone have any ideas? Arsenicum album's a very good choice too. I have not talked much about Arsenicum album. Sepia is another good one. And by the way, my friends, don't think that sepia, for those of you who've been studying with me for any amount of time, is only for women, because it is not. Sepia could also be considered calc carb. Keep going. Nux vomica. I like Nux vomica for Michael because he has worries about business too. I've got another one in mind. Thank you, Deb Crosby. Argentum nitricum. What made us think of Argentum nitricum? Because he has impulses, strange impulses. An impulse to jump off a bridge, even though he would never commit suicide. Impulses to put a butter knife into an electric socket. Impulses to do strange things with all of this anxiety and panic and freaking out. And he's just falling apart because now he's not only suffering from anxiety, now he's got panic. He's got impulse problems. He's got gastrointestinal. He's got blood in the stool, ED. He's not thinking straight any long. Isn't it amazing? The person who takes drugs must recover twice, once from the disease and once from the drugs. Dr. William Osler said that. Early in the 20th century, he was one of the founding fathers of Johns Hopkins. So should you think that this was a doctor of alternative nature, my friends, he was as mainstream as they come. Argentum nitricum 200C. Thank you very much. Heather, you're right. And I would use 200C, yes. Would I use it twice a day? I might use it maybe every other day for a few days and see how it goes. And what you want to give these medicines their due. In other words, I had someone report to me the other day that they had an accident and they took aconitum and arnica and it just didn't help at all. Now, I don't know whether or not that's because they took it several times and it just, I don't know, it wasn't the right medicine at the time. But I have to tell you, my friends, what you expect is you must have that in alignment in your thinking. You must know that these medicines need to be repeated frequently. Sometimes we can get away with one dose, one medicine, and bam, it's done. But more often than not, especially in Michael's situation, he needs this medicine a number of times. Had he started in the beginning, it would have been aconitum. Had he not even gone to the doctor in the first place and had done a little bit of research himself. And yes, taken a chance. Because we know that most people say things like this. Well, what harm would it come to? I'll just go and I'll just see what the doctor has to say. Not realizing that once you step on that train, you rarely get off unscathed. It's a rare person who sees it right away. So, my friends, I would have encouraged Michael to take aconitum 200C in the very beginning, or coffea, or aurum, or those others that I discussed. But by the time he got to the end of this, when he was starting to have strange impulses, now his mind is just not right. He's got too many drugs. Each one of those drugs, my friends, has a side effect. But what about the synergistic effect? What about what happens when we put them all together? No one knows the synergistic effects of more than one. What happens with this when you add that? Now what happens with this when you add this? And what happens to this when you add this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this? And how many did I come up with? 9. It's not uncommon by the time someone reaches their 60s that they're on 9 drugs of commerce, synthetic drugs of commerce. What do you do for the withdrawal and stopping Valium? Such a good question, asks Debbie. Such a good question. I wanted to direct you, my friends, to my course that you go to Joette's Learning Center, scroll down, and you look up Mindful Homeopathy. I teach all about what medicines to use for withdrawal. It's a very, very good course. These days, says Wanda, going to a doctor or a hospital can end up being a death sentence. I was very close to 2 of my cousins. They have since passed away. Unfortunately, both of them were medical doctors. I was very close to both of them. And both of them, independently of each other, said, do not go into a hospital. Don't go there. Don't do it. Stay away. Whatever you have to do, figure it out. And then, my friends, my father's best friend, I'll take a sip of water. My mouth is getting dry because I'm so loquacious tonight. My father's best friend many years ago was a well-known cardiological author. He wrote many textbooks that were used worldwide. He said the best way to cure yourself of a disease is to get a disease and figure it out yourself how to get out of it. You figure it out. It's not up to an industry. It's not up to someone who is a rep of the retail industry. It is not up to the government. It's not up to the hospital. It's not up to anyone but you. And so, my friends, this is where we go tonight. Panic and anxiety are not complicated to correct. Check your diet, check your lifestyle, check what could be extrinsic coming in. Are you spreading pesticides on your lawn, my dears? Nay, nay. Stay away from the toxins. Are you putting saccharin in your coffee? Oh, nay, nay. Get rid of the fake foods. Are you on a low-fat diet? No butter, no meat? No quality cheese? Oh, nay, nay. You need saturated fats. Are you watching a steady diet of corporate news or even the alternative news? No. If you have anxiety, you need to stay away. Listen to classical music. Listen to sacred music. Listen and be around the lofty. Go for walks in the park. Feed the birds. Take care of your family. Have dinners with your family. Pray before you go to bed. Or even better yet, establish your day with good prayer first thing in the morning. Harp music, says Joni. You bet. Grow your own food. No doubt about it. There's nothing better than getting your bare feet and your bare hands in the soil. That's where we want to go with this. So, my friends, as always, it is a pleasure. I'm not answering questions tonight. I'm sorry I went so deeply into this, but I needed to give you the way this happens. And look for it in your life, in your spouse's life, in your children's lives. Put together your timeline. Most people think I got sick ever since I had that pneumonia. Really, my friends? I can't breathe the last 10 years, ever since I had that pneumonia back in 2014. Yeah, ever since then. Really? Was it the pneumonia, my friends, or was it the treatment of the pneumonia? Now, I'm not telling you that pneumonia can't do that. I'm not telling you that these kinds of conditions can't cause long-term effects. But look at the treatments. And so with that, I say God bless all of you, and I will see you next week. It's a pleasure seeing you all. Please share and like and send this to your friends and subscribe. We need this to get out to folks. God bless you all. Good night. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. Athusa, no dairy, it's elementary with arnica head, arsenicum fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bella so red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, calicum, barnicum, let it melt on you, gumbo, beast to weed are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.